Okay guys, check out this lift. This is how my client lifted right before I rinsed her. I wanted you guys to see what it looked like because this video is going to be breaking down every step, everything I do whenever it comes to toning. So obviously the first step is going to be pulling the foils. And how satisfying is it when you get a clean lift and you're pulling those foils out? Oh my God, it might be my favorite thing on this earth. So after we pull all of the foils out, we check out the lift. The first thing that we're actually going to be doing is clarifying the hair. I'm going to be just rinsing out the lightener and then going straight in with a clarifying shampoo. The shampoo that we use is going to be Weekender by Unite. I highly recommend the Unite line for any like shampoos, conditioners, styling products, but any clarifying shampoo would do the trick. This is going to make sure we clarify her hair because it is a clarifying shampoo. It's going to make sure that all that lightener is out of her hair. We're going to be stripping her hair of any impurities or any buildup that she might have from like dry shampoo or any product she's using at home or any like dirt. Honestly, we're going to be really cleaning her hair, giving it a good scrub. So then we have a nice blank canvas to tone on, and it's going to make sure that that root takes and that global toner takes. So getting into formulating, what I'm going to be doing is adding the client's natural level with a little bit of their natural level ash to counteract any warmth. So this client is a natural level 7. So what I'm going to be mixing up is Shades EQ, and I'm going to have 3/4 7N and 1/4 7NA. The reason we're adding in the 7N is because, like I said, it's the client's natural level. We're wanting to blend that foil line or those highlights in with her natural level, so whenever it grows out, it's a really nice soft blend. And then we're going to be counteracting any warmth you might get at the root by adding in that ash. I'm mixing this today with the gel developer. I always mix my roots with the gel developer with shades because it is going to be a better consistency for that root. The regular processing solution is just a little bit too liquidy and it is going to run down. It could get on the mids and ends of the hair, and that is one thing you just don't want. You don't want any dark color splotches. Getting into mixing up her all over toner, I'm going to be doing 2 ounces of the regular processing solution, still by Shades EQ, and I'm going to be mixing up 9GI, which is a gold iridescent, which helps like enhance any warm tones that might be in the hair and really just brightens the hair. It's more of like a reflecting thing. I know gold can sound scary, but it's going to be nice and bright. And then to counteract any warmth, I'm doing 10P. The P's in Shades EQ are all violet and blue based, so it's going to be counteracting any orange tones or any yellow tones in the hair since it has that violet and blue in there. So we are back at the bowl, and the only thing we have done for this client is clarify our hair to get rid of any kind of buildup, make sure the lightener's out there like we said, and I'm going to be going ahead and adding on this gloss all over her hair and go ahead and get it toning. The first step though I'm going to be doing is saturating this toner on her ends. Now her ends aren't enlightened in this service. They have been previously lightened, so the cuticle is not opened like it is everywhere else. So I want to go ahead and get that toner going on those ends because it's going to be taking a lot slower, and then I'm going to be applying it everywhere else. A good rule of thumb to do is apply it on those ends that haven't been previously lightened, and once you see almost like a little bit of a tonal shift, I'm going to go ahead and add it to where we have lightened, which is going to be at the regrowth of her hair. Something else that is super important is you want to make sure at that nape of the head, you saw me do it a little bit, like 10 seconds before this in the video, if you want to rewind and see it, but we're going to make sure that we're getting it where her head is resting on that shampoo bowl, pillow thingy, whatever they're called, because it's nothing worse than toning your whole client and then there's like up underneath, if they pull their hair up, that part isn't toned and it doesn't match. Like, just trust me, make sure you get it at the nape. We're applying this everywhere, and I really like to take my time and make sure I'm massaging that product in. I'll kind of just be massaging the hair, rubbing it in the entire time that I am toning instead of just letting it set. This is going to make sure that we are saturating every little hair and no hair gets left behind. As far as our processing time with this client is going to be so different for everyone, you guys. Don't ever just let a toner sit for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's always going to be different, especially with a line like Shades EQ. Sometimes it takes super fast. Sometimes it takes a while for it to actually tone out all the warmth. Something you're going to want to do is this little trick that I was taught, and it is to apply your toner, and then when it starts to look scary, leave it on for 1 minute longer. Something else I like to do is spread the hair open like this so I can really open up the hair and see what is up underneath that gloss and see how the hair is looking. Once I've left it on a minute longer, whenever it's looking scary, it is time to rinse the hair. Make sure we get everything out so it doesn't keep processing, because if you don't get all that toner out, it could go too ashy. It could go really like, it can almost make it look dull, and that is the last thing that we want to see, you or your client. No dull hair, no too overtoned hair. Rinse the crap out. So the reason that I glossed before is because I wanted to seal that cuticle a little bit just in case that root formula does get on her hair. Another way to protect those mids and ends and make sure that they stay bright is adding in an Olaplex treatment to the mids and ends. This is also going to act as like a double whammy, if you will. So while her root is processing, she is going to be processing on her treatment as well. So we're killing two birds with one stone at the same time. It's going to save you a little bit of time, and your client's going to be receiving a treatment while that root is processing. Now here's the worst part. While that Olaplex barrier is on there, we're going to be brushing out her hair. I'm using a metal bristle brush because it makes detangling 10 times easier. This is always the worst part because you just clarified and toned the hair. You haven't conditioned it yet. You do have that Olaplex treatment on there, but this is also going to be ensuring that we're working that product through and that Olaplex is getting distributed on every hair, so every hair gets a little bit of love with that treatment. And moving on to the root smudge. Now I'm not gonna lie, I totally filmed the back, but I hit record and it stopped recording. So I was recording the part of me detangling, and you know what, I lost the footage. You can blame me. I'll make sure I do a video more in depth on just rooting in general, but what we're going to be doing is taking small sections on a diagonal and we're going to be dragging that root down. We're just going to be blending in her natural color with that foil line. We didn't take her highlights all the way to the scalp because she did want a little bit of a rooted look, but the reason I'm working on this slight diagonal is because I can bring it back further in the back if I wanted to, and I can make it more of less of a root towards the front, so it's going to be keeping her hairline bright and that money piece bright. I'm actually leaving out the hairline and the money piece. As you can see, I just sectioned it out, and I'm making sure that I really saturate so this root actually takes and it's not splotchy at all. So we're taking thin sections, applying a generous amount of product. One thing that I see all the time in classes or whenever I'm training someone new at our salon is that people are scared to add this root formula on there, but you got to saturate it just like you would do any other root retouch or anything like that. You got to take small sections, make sure no hair is left behind, and you want to make sure that you are really saturating. And I know that it can be scary because this is a darker formula and you don't want to get it anywhere, but just to ensure that we don't get that formula anywhere is we have that barrier of Olaplex on her mids to ends. So if you were to like drip a little bit, if it was to drag down a little bit too far, that Olaplex is acting as a barrier to protect those blonde hairs, and you don't have to really worry about it, darling. Something else I want to point out is whenever I'm sectioning the hair that I'm holding up that I haven't rooted yet, is I'm holding it with good tension to make sure that it is out of the way and it is not drooping over the section that I'm applying my color. That way everything stays a lot cleaner. I can actually see what I'm doing because the section of hair that I haven't rooted yet isn't shadowing over the space that I am working on. And then of course at the end, after we have applied this root to each section, we are going to be blending it out. Now this color brush is my favorite because you can apply with it, you can section with it, and you can also blend with it, and it's freaking cute. So that's like 4 gold stars, and the 5th gold star is that it is going to be launching soon to Jay-Z Styles. I helped create this brush, so I'm super proud of it. It is the perfect brush for rooting, and honestly, like all over colors, anything, I swear to God, I love this brush. I'm not hyping it up because it's Jay-Z. I'm hyping it up because I helped create this to the perfection that it is, and I'm super excited about it. Okay, the rant about the brush is over. Whenever it comes to blending, you're going to make sure that you're not dragging that product down too far by doing little C motions. So I'm going through, blending it, scooping it up as well as you've seen. And then what I'll do after I've blended each section is I'm just going to be tapping the top of this money piece to help blend it in. And then I'm going to let everything set for anywhere between 5 to 7 to 10 minutes. I let this client sit for 10 minutes because she really wanted to see the root, so it has a nice soft grow out. And then after I've let it sit for that 10 minutes, the last minute, I'm going to be tapping out that hairline, that money piece, just like this. I always go back a little bit further into the interior of her hair because I don't want any hair to get left behind again, and I'm just going to be tapping it out with that same formula, leaving it on for a minute, and then we can rinse completely. After I rinse this client completely, I always shampoo and condition the hair to make sure that all of that toner is out. Nothing is worse than taking your client back to the chair whenever you are about to style them and you're like, oh crap, I left a little bit of the root on, and then you have to take them back to the shampoo bowl. Just wash and condition the hair so it's clean, it's conditioned, it's not easy to detangle whenever you're about to style, and I swear to God, it's just going to help you out in the long run. Something else that I did want to point out that can be super scary, something that scared me at first, is that this is going to look a lot darker. Like, look when she's brushed out of the bowl, but whenever it is dry, it's not going to be that. Shout out to Lindsay for helping me out. I love her. Whenever it's dry, it's going to look like this. A nice soft root, really nice and bright, brighter around her hairline. You can see all those measures that we took, leaving the money piece out to ensure that it is brighter. It came here. This is the effect. There's nothing more beautiful to me than a nice bright blonde that's not too ashy, that's not too warm, with a nice soft root. So now all there is to do is to take some after photos and check out your client. They feel so good. You can actually hear her reaction in just a second. You guys, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave in the comments below what videos you want to see in the future, and I'll catch you next Wednesday.
Good. Oh my gosh, I love it. You guys are amazing.